Guys, we need to have a serious conversation about Graviton Spike, the all-new exotic hand cannon that came out with Edge of Fate. You see, the Trials weekend has finally passed, and with that, the new stat meta, the new gun meta is starting to settle in. And to my surprise, Graviton Spike is one of the more dominant weapons to use. It does that much damage? I hit body shot, headshot, and he died, bro. By the end of the video, you're probably going to realize that you might want to get this gun fully crafted, get all the upgrades so that you're just prepared for that trials match where you need to bring out that hand cannon since everyone else is using it too. First, I want to go through the basic stuff like the weapon perks and the catalyst topic before we move on to a different section that's going to be more complex, where I do something I've never done before, which is give you an analysis as to how this weapon is going to behave in a more top tier PvP meta. So Graviton Spike being a hand cannon is going to be the same way as any other hand cannon. You want your range, you want your stability, you like handling, you want aim assist, yada yada yada. One clear thing that stood out to me was the zoom. Most hand cannons do not have 16 zoom. We're gonna slap on the zoom of hand cannons like Rose, Exalted Truth, Ace of Spades, the list goes on. This one is already an outlier when it comes to the zoom, and in simple terms, basically that's going to allow you to snag better headshots, better hit registration at a distance when shooting the Graviton Spike. Move your eyes towards the weapon perks. We are going to do the usual, just slap on a bunch of range without really trying to hurt the stability. Hammer Forge was great here. Accurized rounds is another amazing pick, and then our grip, we're going to go for smooth grip as it gives us stability and handling speed. As for the catalyst, the Graviton Spike gets 4 different options, rapid hit being one. Headshots are going to increase your stability and reload speed. Subsistence, which just refills the magazine as you get defeats. The next one is Transcendent Zen. Final blows grant bonus stats based on the weapon's damage type alignment. Light element grants stability and handling. Dark elements grant range and aim assist. While Transcendent, this weapon gets both bonuses. And then the next catalyst, Temporal Alignment. Overcharging both arc and stasis modes grants a period of increased damage. I believe here that Temporal Alignment is going to be a popular pick and the popular perk to talk about slapping onto this hand cannon, because who doesn't want increased damage? But in my honest opinion, getting the arc and the stasis mode both charges up to get the damage bonus seems to be too much effort and not really worth it in my honest opinion. There is value with the perk, but personally, I don't want to put in that time and effort to get the value of it later down the road. So I went for rapid hit. Every headshot immediately is going to increase my stability, which in Destiny, it helps with flinch, you know, obviously the recoil and a little bit of bloom. Okay, so next I want to explain the exotic perk so you can better understand why you're going to see it go from arc to stasis, stasis to arc, and sometimes just remain in one or the other. Temporal Manipulation states that you can swap between arc and stasis mode. You don't need to do anything special. You can just swap between them by holding down the special button. Final blows and precision hits overcharge the opposing mode to enable additional effects. So when starting with the arc mode, getting 3 headshots, or it could be 3 defeats, will charge up the stasis mode. Now I have to tell you that getting those headshots, it is extremely generous before the headshots begin to decay from overcharging the stasis mode. I've had trials rounds where I shoot some headshots from the beginning, don't shoot anybody for a while, find somebody else to shoot, and then it finally overcharges the stasis mode. So now that you have the stasis overcharged, it gets insane. You're going to transition to the stasis mode. Landing a headshot is going to slow the target and also spawn additional stasis crystals. The crazy part about the stasis mode is that when you land that headshot and slow the target, they almost cannot escape the follow-up shot, so they almost always die to this hand cannon. I'm not sure if it's a bug either, but whenever the crystals form and if the player is near them, those crystals will usually do additional damage to get that player killed. While you're using the stasis mode, you're also overcharging the arc mode. So after getting your 3 headshots, you're gonna go back to arc mode, and this one is going to release bolt charge shocks as you get headshots on targets. Occasionally, you might experience a 2-tap if the player just stands completely still in the shock, but more often than not, I just found the hand cannon to do a lot of damage, but still requires me to get the 3-tap. Are you still following along?
No.
Because now I'm going to give you my analysis of Graviton Spike's existence in the Trials meta and Crucible as a whole. So for starters, it's a 150 RPM. You need to understand that the only other hand cannon that exists in that same archetype is Sunshot. Spare Rations used to be at 150 RPM. Thorn used to be at 150 RPM. These hand cannons used to 3-tap so fast, had so much aim assist, and the time to kill was significantly much better than what they are now at a 140 RPM. Let's put it for comparison's sake. My best rolls is only going to 3-tap at a 0.83 second time to kill. Running around with a 150 RPM hand cannon turns my time to kill into a 0.80 TTK. The 3-taps are much faster. That means I can land that third headshot before someone ducks into cover or before they land the final blow with their auto rifle or pulse rifle. Thanks to the ability of adding range to it and having that high zoom, getting headshots is not that difficult. 70 range is not the most insane thing, but this hand cannon has something special that makes up for it that I won't get to just yet. What surprised me here was not only just a zoom, but also the aim assist. When you compare this to Sunshot being at 150 RPM only gets 60 aim assist, while this one gets 85. So what I'm trying to say here is that alone in its arc mode, it feels like you're running with a very competitive and viable hand cannon that can 3-tap really fast. It can out time to kill other people with 140 RPM hand cannons, has an easier time getting a 3-tap before someone runs away or lands a final blow on you in the gunfight. And it doesn't stop just there, because once you get the hand cannon charged up and you turn it into a stasis mode, you start to experience even more power and realizing why there's no other hand cannon in the game like Graviton Spike, and we've never had anything like it before. When you turn it into a stasis mode, you're basically going to experience a lot more range and damage. This feels like a completely juiced up criminal's dagger in the back that you can just call on demand whenever. You're able to get some crazy team shots with your teammates without feeling like you're out of range, because that's the weakness of the 150 RPM. You can't compete with someone at the edge of the map using a pulse rifle, so you can swap to the stasis mode to be able to actually deal damage from across the map and participate in the team shots that you normally wouldn't be able to. Earlier I was telling you that when you have the stasis mode charged up, you slow the target, the crystals can kill them, you can get some crazy 2-taps. And while that's insane, you don't only have to play into the exotic activations. Summoning a juiced up criminal's dagger on demand is already insane in my opinion when it comes to Trials gameplay. Most of the time when I'm playing with a low range weapon or some type of 140 RPM hand cannon, pulse rifles, scout rifle players could keep me back. It would challenge me to get creative on how to close that gap so that I can actually be within that range. But now with Graviton Spike, those problems kind of disappear when I switch to the different mode, because now I can actually hit those players who are trying to avoid my range. If we're to compare this with a criminal's dagger, I can tell you that this hand cannon has way better hit registration and range than my criminals, but it won't have the similar time to kill. Criminal's dagger is a 2-head 1-body, which results in a 1-second time to kill. Graviton Spike shoots quite slower than that, but that's completely okay because you're trading off that crazy time to kill for the ability to actually hit targets from across the map, do insane damage for team shots. But on top of that, there's also the potential of getting a fast time to kill from any potential cleanup that you do with this hand cannon. If they're weak enough, all you need is one big headshot chunk and they're dead. And don't forget your ability to 2-tap sometimes, depending whether the crystal damages them or not. Take into consideration everything I've said and you end up with a very powerful hand cannon. The clutch factor is insane, by the way. When you build up that stasis overcharge, landing a headshot almost guarantees you another headshot, which means a pick, and then you can start to snowball to clutch around. I like to compare this to Hawkmoon, which is my favorite exotic inside of Trials. I love building up the paracostal shots to end up getting a 1-tap. That 1-tap is awesome in Trial scenarios because it allows me to get a pick for the team with my weapon, make a significant impact to us winning the round. I'd say it takes a lot of effort and skill to get that play to happen, and Graviton Spike has that same type of gimmick built in where you have a minigame with your exotic hand cannon, but it requires much less effort, yet it still gives you such a crazy payout. Personally, I'm going to keep my eyes open anytime someone on the enemy team is using Graviton Spike, because that match is going to play out very, very differently. I'm going to have to change my playstyle, adapt to it, play a specific way to not feed the Graviton Spike the ability to just destroy our team. If I mindlessly just engage a Graviton Spike and feed that player headshots, that means that player can take the stasis overcharge, go fight my other teammate, and have an insane advantage in that gunfight, almost resulting in a free kill for them. Trials with Graviton Spike inside of those lobbies is not going to be the same. Those matches are going to be wild, and I'm going to be ready with my own. Have you tried Graviton Spike inside of Trials? Have you played against it? What do you think? Do you think that it's as crazy as I say it is? Have you experienced the power already? Make sure you go fully upgraded so you can try it out yourself. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.